get rid of it basically. That's one way I work with my cooldown. So if it's on my screen, I need to get rid of it. That's how I work it out. And then the little ones underneath is actual buffs that I get to increase my dots damage when procs do happen.
So that's another alternative if people want to look into that instead of weak auras. Tell me when it does a similar job. So just going to show you just a couple of the config windows for each of the auras. You can customize it so much. If you like to customize things, then weak auras is a good way to go. You can say, well, you can say how you want it displayed, so you can change obviously the size of it and things like that, whether it's opaque or transparent or whatever, rotated. I believe you can sort of import your own auras into that as well if you want to use your own texture.
Yeah, you can.
And then obviously triggers, you can add triggers for when you want it to pop up. You can have it pop up on multiple triggers. I haven't tried this yet, but you could set something up. So for example, I pop my school banner, it outputs a message to the raid, and then when it's over it outputs a message to the raid, and it sends a message to another warrior, and their weak auras will pick up when that message has come in, and will put an alert up saying use your skull banner now. And you could do that between different warriors in the raid group. I'm pretty certain that would work. I just haven't tested it yet.
Link to .timecore.com.
I'll just link that one to the chat.
What's that?
That one's when I make my screen go across all three screens. That's how big it is. But I haven't managed to sort it out where it scales properly yet. Move the stuff to the right areas, but.
Oh yeah, see, so you could have
a lot more space.
Yeah.
Get rid of all the shit that you don't want and stick it at the sides.
That's quite cool.
God, it must feel like you're playing in a cinema with a screen that wide.
It takes a while to get used to, but it is good because you can get rid of all the stuff that will distract you in a fight, like your mini-map. You don't need your mini-map in a fight. You don't need your chat boxes in a fight. You don't need the buffs on the side that you use to buff the raid up, or your micro bar and stuff. You can just get rid of all that.
No, you can have it
to the very side. It's helpful.
Miffy, what's the rabbit do?
Rabbit.
I think it's a rabbit on your abilities. Next to Blizzard and Frostnova.
Polymorph?
To be polymorph rabbit.
Not seen that icon before.
Couple more screens on weak auras. You can tell it when you want the weak auras to actually load, based on what character you're on, what class, etc., etc. And this actions one, that's what I was talking about the chat message. You could even make it play a sound, which is quite good for things like, I have one for when my health goes below 10%. It's just an audio warning, because if I haven't noticed, it catches my attention.
Dennis has loads of things for sounds. Like when like things proc, it makes it scream or do other sorts of things.
Some people like a lot of audio warnings like that. They respond better to them. So if you're that type of person, then I'd really suggest using those.
One for audio warnings I find as good as GTFO.
Yes, that'll just scream at you if you're standing in stuff, I presume.
Yeah, it gives you different levels of screaming. You know, mild. If you're taking mild damage from standing in a puddle, it will give you a mild beep. If you're taking serious damage, it does go fucking nuts. It can be annoying sometimes, but it's good if you're busy looking at other stuff. And it can be configured as well.
That's the idea. I mean, I've got weak auras that are really annoying when I haven't got buffs on myself. It's like on my monk, I've got one. If I haven't got my stat down, a big icon of the statue appears right in the center of my screen. It's very annoying. So obviously to get rid of it, I need to put the statue down, which is why this is the whole point of it.
Yeah, exactly. Animations. I don't think I've really used the animations. What do they actually do?
They just make it. You can make it spin. You can make it slide around.
Right. Okay. To get your attention a bit more, I guess you can make it shake around and stuff as well. Then.
Yeah. It can fade in and out, stuff like that.
That might be useful. Say if I guess if you're getting towards the end of a timer or something, you might want it to sort of start flashing at you to alert you that you've only got a couple of seconds left. So this is just another screenshot that I've shown you before. It's just got external cooldowns there showing around my character and some buffs and debuffs there from Siege of Orgrimmar. I just showed them there as an example, really. And if you look in the chat channel, there's a couple of examples from Mithy there, and Stevens put one in. So if you wanted to have a look at their UIs, check them out.
Don't ask why I have novelty big buttons. I just like to have big buttons just because they look cool.
I have to scroll like 5 screens across to see your whole UI.
Yeah, that's why he's got big buttons, because he's got so much screen space to use.
It's because he's got
Really,
like
that long one?
4 monitors, is it, or 3?
3 for the long one.
Mithy, yours is huge.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's the way that you're looking at it. He uses mirrors.
Yeah, yours doesn't seem that big, Caddo.
Oh, it's deceptive, mine.
Got more bite.
He's a grower, not a shower.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and I just there was one final thing. I just wanted to show you guys what I've done with some of the web API. Many of you probably won't find this of any use. I just thought I'd add it on here, just if anybody's interested in it. Like I said earlier, websites, they get information from the WoW Armory, and they use the web API to do that. And I had a bit of a play around with it, and I was using it to generate a spreadsheet for our raid team. Basically, I just wanted some information in front of me rather than me having to like look it up all manually and enter it myself. All I had to do was enter the name of the player, and all my programming code would return the information that I wanted. And you'll see it pop up in a second, and you'll see what I mean. But I also wrote some scripts as well to use the API to look through people's achievements, and if it found out that they'd done Proving Grounds Gold, then it would return a value true for me, so I could see that they'd done it. And also I did the same thing with the legendary cloak as well, so I could see who had got the legendary cloak and who hadn't. So you should be able to see that now.
Oh, that's it. Just tell everyone I haven't done Proving Grounds Gold.
This was I set this spreadsheet up a while ago, so there's some names on there that probably are less familiar to some people, but there are some names on there that people will be familiar with. Some of the Proving Grounds ones may be incorrect because I think the way that my code works is it will look at whether they've got a Proving Grounds for their spec 1, I think. I might have altered it to do both specs, I don't know.
Yeah, you must have done that.
You haven't done it, have you?
Shut up. I'm going to do it.
This is exactly why you should have a web API spreadsheet.
Do you like spreadsheets? Almost as good as a pie chart. You could have made it into a pie chart of how many people have done Proving Grounds, how many people haven't.
Oh, I'm not bothered about that statistics, but I could have done, I suppose. I've added a few extra things on there, like conditional formatting. That's so basically when it sees a true value, it'll display green. When it sees a false value, it'll display red. It's just to make it more visual. And I even
So as bad as me, Caddo.
I know it's terrible, isn't it? I even went into even more detail on the professions, because usually gathering professions aren't optimal for raiding content. So if it found any of the gathering professions, it would mark it as red, and if something wasn't maxed, Where's Dennis? Is that Dennis who hasn't actually got his blacksmithing maxed? I don't think he.
Boo.
I don't need a max.
I
to get
don't
the
think he
thing
does.
out of-
No.
570, I think, for the
Is it
Germans.
570? Okay, so
I
it's.
thought it was less than that. I thought it was. Yeah, it's less than that.
I
It's
think it is actually. I think it's
Isn't it
like
It's RAF
550?
stuff, yeah.
it could be.
It's I'm 400 somewhere.
Okay,
remember
well,
No, but doesn't it upgrade? Like, you learn one at one level, but you can't use that one on
Yeah,
like level
it works
90
on
gear.
certain eye levels.
Ah,
but again, it's just a useful thing. If you're monitoring this sort of thing, it's something you can. This was just an application of the web API that I have used. But again, a lot of information on there can be used if you're making your own website or whatever. The icons for spell abilities and things like that can be used through the API as well. So that's how they make things visual on these sites when you hover over stuff.
I think I did the same thing back when we started raiding in this expansion. And I think I had a list of everyone in my raid team at the time who needed what gear and of what boss they needed it from. So I knew exactly who I had to switch in for each boss just to save time. And it would just come up every time I'd log on. It'd just tell me who I need to invite for that raid for that one boss. And then once it was done, I knew who I was swapping in and out. It's really helpful.
Yeah, that things like that are helpful. And if you could attach that to the API as well, you could have got even more information there without having to enter it manually. But if anybody is interested in looking at that, you can just give me a shout. I quite like doing programming and things like that.
Does your focus today on add-ons, was it then?
Yeah, add-ons today, and I think I've split this one into two. I'm going to do part 2 next week and focus on the macros. I just felt like I wanted to spend a bit more time on macros, so I could go through some of the well, I could give some examples and just go through some default syntax and how to actually build your own, because I think if people have an understanding of the different commands, then it's more helpful.
Just a side note though on the add-ons though, guys. If you go on the Icy Veins website and you look at what add-ons and macros, they actually recommend certain add-ons for certain specs and classes in World of Warcraft. And there is a reason they suggest them, because they are really so helpful for that class. Like there's, if anyone's ever played Boonkin, there's one for tracking your lunar and solar eclipses and how you transition into that just to make things a lot smoother. With Shadow Priest, there's ones that it's just like a nice little add-on that shows you when to refresh your dots and stuff like that. But yeah, always check up on Icy Veins, and they'll always offer you extra add-ons that will really improve your performance.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the benefit of add-ons. They're just there really to allow you to customize the way that you play and just to make life easier for you, really. As I said before, Curse Client's really good for managing your add-ons. It'll come up with a list of what you've got, and if you need any updates, you can just set the updates going. You can search for new add-ons in there and it'll install it all in there for you. Saves actually having to extract files into your directory. It just does all that for you. And also, I mean, if you find a particular add-on useful that's been made by someone who's, giving up their free time to make it or whatever, it's always worth donating to support them if you can. And if there's anything in particular that you want me to go through next session add-on wise, then just let me know and I'll add some slides about that. But it's mainly going to be on macros next time.
Do you want me to email you a list or just tell you in game?
I would like you to buy me a bottle of whiskey first.
I have a bottle of whiskey here. I will be there in 20 minutes.
Okey-doke. In fact, you could put a post-it note of the add-ons you want me to talk about on the bottle of whiskey.
A good topic would be keybinds to clicking. If you haven't done that one already.
Yeah, I did that last week. If